Story first, India's AI story is entering a decisive phase. A new joint report by Zinnov, Activate and India Spora shows that the country now ranks third globally in AI, with over 3,100 startups driving a rapidly evolving ecosystem. And unlike countries like the US or China, the report says India is betting on a different AI playbook built around frugal innovation, real-world applications, and scalable digital infrastructure. Now, the geography of this AI boom is a story of its own. The report shows that Bengaluru accounts for 28% of India's AI ecosystem and houses 59 of the top 100 startups. But the next wave may well come from elsewhere. Cities like Chennai, with a 6% share, and Hyderabad at 8% are emerging as serious contenders, backed by strengths in manufacturing, enterprise tech, and policy-led innovation. The opportunity is massive, but so are the risks. With 18 of the top 100 startups already shifting headquarters overseas, the question is whether India can truly build and retain global AI champions. Joining us now to break down these findings is Karthik Padmanabhan, Managing Partner at Zinnov. Karthik, thanks for joining us on the broadcast. My first question to you. Bengaluru alone, your report says, accounts for 28% of India's AI ecosystem. Is that dominance growing, or is it almost peaking as of this time and place?
We should first acknowledge that we are in such an exciting era overall globally, and especially in India. So even before we get to Bangalore and the other cities, I should just say that how much India is now powering the entire AI capability across the world right now. We know for a fact that now India ranks number 3 globally in AI capability, up from 7th last year. We've got 3,100 startups right now. We've got USD about 2.9 billion raised by the top 100 AI startups right now. So it just says we are in a very, very exciting time currently. So that's a first an acknowledgement. Of course, the AI journey right now is being led by all of the technology powerhouses, the deep start technology that we have. Now, as far as the deep tech technology is concerned, India has always been very strong. India has always had that muscle, the power to work with global organizations from a deep tech perspective. And a lot of that deep tech talent is still rooted from a Bangalore point of view. So Bangalore, therefore, does remain the main AI anchor from an India point of view. Right? The share of growth within Bangalore is still significantly high, though I should say that is beginning to shift to other cities as well. But it does hold 28% of the overall AI ecosystem. It still holds the deep tech technology strength that it's always had in the past. It has been a magnet for talent across the country to come in here. Now, it's just not the talent today that's powering the AI circles. It's got talent, it's got infrastructure, it's got capability, it's got innovation at the heart of it. So that is also a thinking mindset, a Silicon Valley kind of mindset that happens within Bangalore that sort of makes so it's a good home for startups to grow and over here. There are other structural advantages as well, Jude, like when we talk about like the GCCs, hyperscalers, great talent, look for funding opportunities, for example. Those sort of areas also comes in. And when that couples together, it's a good force multiplier. It's a good force multiplier to say why Bangalore still becomes the home for where we have great talent and good startups over here.
But Karthik, given that your report says that 59 out of the top 100 AI startups are in fact based in Bengaluru, does that level of concentration worry you? Is it a case of just too many startups being in Bengaluru itself?
I would probably say it's a dual-edged thing, Jude, in a way, if you want to look at it. One is, it is a positive story. The fact of the matter is that when we have such a lot of talent, it is a force multiplier. So Bangalore will still continue to grow, and that will also happen. And by the way, this is a global phenomenon. You take globally, you would have specific areas, locations that does. We always know that the Bay Area, you also have the eastern frontier on the US, for example. There are areas globally across where you would see this phenomenon where you have a concentration of talent, right? So Bangalore is no different from that. That concentration of talent will happen. But we do see that it's not something that will keep growing all the time. There will be a point of time where there will be a plateau. Equally, what we are also seeing is other cities are coming to the fore, right? So we have other cities, Hyderabad, Chennai, NCR region, for example. There are now startups that are coming through as far as Ahmedabad, Coimbatore. We do see multiple other organizations as well. And there are reasons for that are also quite there, right? If you really look at saying the core startups that have been there in the past, like you look at foundational models, like let's say Sarvam, for example, or you look at Nesa, Kudrum, they are still anchored in Bangalore. That said, we're also seeing other organizations. We are seeing other startups coming through, but they are very sector-based, right? If you have sector-based talent, if you have industry-based startups that are coming through, that are actually mushrooming in other cities. So we do see that we have Hyderabad and Chennai today that are still coming through from various other areas. And that's a good, reasonable startup that we have, right? We have about 22% of startups that are there in the emerging hubs, which shows reasonable evidence of that shift happening. And we do see that shift happening overall. We feel that the overall ecosystem will balance out and mature. So in a way, the Bangalore story becoming better and better is a good thing. But we're also seeing the ecosystem play out in a way that we have other cities coming into play as well. And there could be different reasons that creates that shift in ecosystem, and that we do see that coming through.
You know, Karthik, I'm glad you bring up Hyderabad and Chennai because both cities together are still under 15% of India's overall AI ecosystem. What will it take for these two southern giants to close out the gap, really?
15% is actually not bad, right? If you really look at where we are. So if you look at overall, and we're seeing Pune, 15%, Pune as well, if you bring it into play, and we've got Hyderabad and Chennai coming through, 15% is a decent, in a way, you would say that there is enough startups that are coming back. Good part is they have the right ingredients, right? The recipe for success is actually ingrained on them. The better part is that both of them do it in different ways, right? So if you look at Hyderabad today, a lot of it is institutional based, right? It's got T-Hub, it's got T-Fund, got the government funding that comes through, public sector AI pilots, that comes in, and that T-Hub supporting them, it supports so many different startups that it fuels the growth of those startups, right? So the government funding, the T-Hub ecosystem, the innovation model that's there, and the funding that it gets through is driving the growth of Hyderabad. Chennai, on the other hand, does it in a very different way. So it already has a legacy of startups like Freshworks and Zoho, and they have already built that sort of a culture over there. That's one. But if you look at then IIT Madras, for example, they have a very strong research foundational ecosystem, right? That coupled with sector economics, right? They are actually very good in certain sectors, automotive, for instance, as an example. You look at SaaS-based companies as another example. So they are doing it in a different way. They have certain sector dynamics that comes into play, certain talent that understands that domain. Then they've got research capabilities. They've got a legacy and culture with respect to, let's say, a Zoho or a Freshworks coming through. That combination is fueling Chennai as well. So while the number in combination may be 15%, we do see that both of them will be rising in the future, doing it in different ways, as I just said, right? The other aspect is the shifters have, we keep always talking from when you talk India, we always talk from a talent perspective. It's moving away from just pure talent to talent plus customers, plus infrastructure, plus research, domain. All of that comes into play, which is probably anchoring this a little bit more. So I do see this as a positive story.
Let's talk about Chennai for a bit then, Karthik. You know, the city is emerging as a hub for, like you said, both SaaS and also industrial AI, given that its strong manufacturing footprint has been the enduring feature of the city's economy. Are these sectors scaling faster than pure play generative AI, you reckon?
I should first of all admit candidly that I do have a soft spot for Chennai, so I'll start with that any which ways. And you're right. Chennai is emerging as a hub for industrial and SaaS-based AI, right? And these sectors are indeed scaling faster than pure play Gen AI, and there are multiple reasons for that, right? If you look at it, the world itself is moving into how are we using AI to solve larger problems, right? That is the key to the whole thing. The key to this is, are we actually using AI to solve problems? Not the traditional ways of using AI. It's always been there and it will be there. But the better uses of using AI is for solving actual problems. That the bootstrapping culture of Chennai, the deep product DNA that's there, makes it more structurally aligned with where enterprise AI is actually heading, right? So you're looking for durable, defensive, outcome-driven sort of models, and that is where actually Chennai is leading towards. The application layer itself is commoditizing itself very fast, right? Our CEO mentioned that it has got a lifespan of about 18 to 24 months, broadly speaking, right? That's probably where the application layer will get commoditized pretty fast. Now we are talking about how can the industrial AI, so the B2B SaaS-based models, how can we use that to solve larger problems within an enterprise or within the world itself in a way? That's probably where I think Chennai is lending itself. So hub for industrial, SaaS AI, business models, healthcare as an example, those areas would actually get a lot more popular going forward. And Chennai will take a lead in some of those areas.
Your study also points out to a rather interesting statistic, and that is that 22% of all AI startups are in emerging hubs. So are we finally seeing a shift beyond the big metros, especially in South India?
So the big names will always be there. So if you really look at the Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, for example, will always continue to become the magnet for talent to move there, infrastructure, funding. The smaller hubs will also come through. Somebody gave an analogy saying that imagine great talent being played, but fewer selectors are watching the cricket match, for example, right? So if you really look, if you watch selectors watching it, they will still be in the larger venues. But as it is India cricket, selectors are going into the domestic region, and so will the talent also happen, right? So you will have a lot more startups coming through from the likes of Kochi, Coimbatore, for example, will create that. The good part is there's a lot of industries there. So the names that I mentioned, like Coimbatore or Kochi as an example, or Mysore, for example, they are industrial belts, right? So people know what work is to be done. So the application of AI within those industrial belts, application of AI within those domain sectors will get popular. So as opposed to industries moving, I think there will be AI moving into those industries as a playground as to where some of those applications can actually reside, right? So we do see that startups are very anchored towards moving to those places, looking at those as examples where they could actually implement it. So we have gone away from, oh, will this work, to will this scale, right? Will this work? Absolutely it will. Where will it scale? It will scale where the applications are. So it'll actually move into those industry areas. It'll move into those belts where you can have that actually getting implemented, and you will get use cases coming out of that. So the short answer is yes. We will see AI being AI startups coming through and getting them implemented within those sectors as well, within the smaller tier 2 cities, if you want to call them that.
Karthik, I'm just curious though, given South India's strength in GCCs and enterprise tech, why would you say that AI deployment cycles are still stuck at about 9 to 18 months, as the report indicates?
Yeah, it's a great challenge, and thanks for pointing that out. So today, the cycles are at 19 to 18 months because of multiple reasons, right? We've got this limited AI literacy among buyers, so the buyers are still not sold completely yet. There are data challenges, there are governance challenges today, and always this big question of the three-letter word of ROI comes into play, right? So what's the ROI for this? So there are some roadblocks or probably speed bumps along the way that holds these cycles at 9 to 18 months. But we do feel that will actually go away pretty fast. This will get into implementation a lot faster than what it used to be today. And if you really look at it, some of the services companies, the GCCs, the 2,000 plus GCCs that we already have got an enterprise, that is an advantage for us, right? So that will then directly connect to some of the models that we have into play and accelerate the cycle even much, much faster.
So how much do you reckon these deployment timelines could eventually condense down to? Are we talking 6 to 9 months as opposed to 9 to 18?
If you ask me, it should be faster than that. It should be probably in the range of 3 to 4 months, or 3 to 6 months is probably what we expect. But of course, that will happen over a period of time.
Well, we leave it there, Karthik. Thanks again for joining us and sharing some of those insights with us today. Well, moving on next, Andhra Pradesh could be headed for a major road transport shake-up, with the state government now considering a ban on private sleeper buses after a string of deadly accidents. The trigger has been a series of recent incidents, including a March 2026 crash in Markapuram, where a private bus collided with a truck and caught fire, killing 13 people and injuring many others. Add to that the Kurnool bus blaze last year that claimed around 20 lives, and authorities are now flagging serious concerns around vehicle safety, illegal modifications and poor enforcement of norms. The problem isn't limited to AP alone. Across the country, high fatality sleeper bus incidents over the years have seen tragic outcomes where passengers, often asleep, have been trapped inside burning vehicles. Experts now say sleeper buses are particularly vulnerable due to flammable interiors, poor emergency exits and structural modifications that do not meet safety standards. And that's got the AP government weighing in on whether stricter regulation is enough or an outright ban instead on these private sleeper buses is in fact the way to go. Meanwhile, India's real estate sector is seeing a surge in institutional confidence, with private equity investments hitting $4.3 billion in FY26 and deal volumes at a 7-year high. But beneath these numbers, the real story is where the money is flowing, and that's increasingly towards South India. Office assets are driving nearly 40% of these inflows, and cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Chennai remain the backbone of India's commercial real estate engine, powered by strong GCC demand and consistent leasing activity. Chennai alone, in fact, has already seen a large PE office deal worth about $288 million this year, signaling sustained investor appetite. Add to that, South India markets consistently account for a significant share of India's office absorption, often upwards of 50%, led of course by Bengaluru's commercial real estate. On that note, we'll slip into a short break, but South Central continues on the other side. Keep watching ET Now. Welcome back. You're watching South Central with me, Jules Sanath. Shifting focus to elections next. Voting has been underway across Kerala and Puducherry, with both southern battlegrounds seeing steady and strong voter participation. In fact, Kerala, as of 5 p.m., saw a 75.02% voter turnout, while Puducherry has seen a whopping 86.92% as of 5 p.m. today. In fact, in Kerala, voting, remember, is being held across all 140 constituencies with over 2.7 crore voters in play. Early trends showed that turnouts have always been rather healthy, even as early as 9 a.m., in fact crossing the 50% mark by early afternoon itself. Puducherry, meanwhile, even though smaller, is matching their enthusiasm with voting across 30 seats and over 9.5 lakh voters, seeing healthy turnouts surge well past 70% through the early part of the afternoon itself. Meanwhile, the who's who of politics and cinema made their way to the polling booth in Kerala to cast their vote. Malayalam A-listers Mammootty and his son Dulquer Salman cast their votes in Kochi. The BJP's trump card in its Kerala chief Rajiv Chandrasekhar also turned up to cast his vote today, as did Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan and the Congress's V.D. Satheesan. In Puducherry, Chief Minister N. Rangaswamy as well as former Chief Minister V. Narayanaswamy turned up at the polling booth to cast their votes. So let's listen in to what some of these names had to say.
No, it's a very simple message. This is an extremely important election for the future of Kerala. This is an important election for the future of our children, the future of our citizens. We have seen for the last 60, 70 years a very lazy type of a CPM Congress politics that has left people behind and only put power politics and exploitative politics front and center. It is time to change that. I am extremely confident that the people of Kerala have taken this mandate as a mandate for change. They have taken these elections as an opportunity to change the direction of our state and to bring development and opportunity for our future generation. So I believe it's an important election. I request every voter to consider this as an extremely important election, exercise their fundamental right of voting, and consider it also a fundamental duty for them to come and help the state move forward.
Sir, all the poll surveys are showing a very tight contest between LDF and UDF. How do you think BJP is going to play a crucial role?
No. Look, first of all, most of these polls that come 2 days before an election, so I'm sorry to say with great respect to these pollsters, are manipulated and they are put out there to serve a particular purpose, to create a narrative. Now, I know that the UDF wants to make people believe that they are going to win and the LDF wants to make people believe they are going to win. But I can assure you today, with the common sense that I have, there is no way that a Malayali today who was given the Congress and the CPM multiple opportunities and has seen the kind of corruption and malgovernance that they have both inflicted on the people and has seen what the state of our state is, will ever give them a mandate. They know today the only person and the only party that can take our state forward, bring development, protect the believers and make the state a Surakshita Kerala is the BJP NDA.
No, we are expecting the turnout to be high. It is already high by this morning's time. That is, I came here at 11:30. It was already quite high in many districts. And I would say that if you're going to look at the turnout on the whole by the end of the day, it may even surpass previous levels ever established, record levels. And that's because the people of Kerala want to vote for a change. They don't want to leave it to the normal political workers and activists to determine their future. Ordinary people are coming out to vote. That's why the turnout is high.
Change means it's going to be UDF favor or...
Of course.
NDA is also confident about that.
Not at all. NDA is a zero-seat party. How many seats can they expect to have that will make any difference in the government? This is a LDF versus UDF election. LDF is going to finally meet its comeuppance in the course of this voting today.
I am very confident that in this election, people of Puducherry will vote for India Alliance. People have seen 5 years misrule of NR BJP government headed by Mr. Rangasamy. Statehood is a major issue. We have been raising it from the Congress party for more than 12 years. Modi government did not respond. When I was chief minister, I raised the issue in every chief minister's conference, but he was not responding. Even the present chief minister raised the issue. Modi was not opening his mouth. I challenged with Amit Shah ji that if you are able to prove the allegations against me, I am prepared to quit politics.
Well, on that note, it's a wrap on South Central today. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back with more news and updates from the region. For the moment, it's goodbye for now.